Hello, Luke.
Hello, Dom. Why am I here?
I thought my listeners and my subscribers might like to have a look at one of our episodes from the Remarkable Realities podcast.
That sounds like a great idea. Let's do it.
Welcome to episode 3 of Remarkable Realities, the podcast where we interview ordinary people doing remarkable things. On tonight's show, episode 3, we speak to Ian Stone. Sadly, Ian's mum was diagnosed with dementia in 2018. This is his story about the trials and tribulations of that journey and what he's doing to try and end dementia for good. Welcome to Remarkable Realities, the podcast where we interview ordinary people that do remarkable things. My name's Dom.
My name's Luke.
And today we've got Ian Stone, who's doing, you are Ride4Dementia essentially, aren't you? Along with a team.
With the team, yes.
You're riding from Torquay or Paignton in Devon to Rome in Italy.
Yes.
1,336 miles.
Yes.
And you're doing that because sadly your mum has stage 4 dementia.
Yeah.
I had a look at your website earlier and it chilled, even now, it chilled me. Something you put, the illness is stealing her soul. And honestly, mate, when I read that, I went cold at my computer at work. Tell us a little bit more about your mum and the story so far.
So, mum was diagnosed with dementia in 2018. I was very naive to dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us are, and still am, because it's not a disease or a condition that's talked about a lot.
No.
Sadly, in 2020, my dad passed away, and I become my mum's full-time carer.
Yeah.
Moving her from Somerset down to Paignton, into the family home. One of the hardest things I've ever had to do, and to watch my mum go downhill so fast was soul destroying. You know, from a loving, caring, gentle mum.
What's your mum's name?
Susan.
Sue. Tell me a little bit about Sue.
So, Susan Betty Jones Stone is actually her name on that, and do you know what? It makes me chuckle every time I say that. Like I say, mum, what is she? 5'3".
I've seen the pictures.
She's dinky.
Yeah.
She's always weighed around 7 stone.
Wow.
Obviously, I had 2 brothers, and for her it was pretty tough looking after 3 boys that were always scrapping and playing rugby and going out drinking as young teenagers, as such, or late teenagers. And so, you know, from that point of view, it's quite tough on her bringing up three young boys. Mum, like I say, was always a loving, caring mother. You know, especially back in the 80s.
So stage 4 now, and you're absolutely right. And I think a lot of people don't know about it because I think everyone's a little scared of it. And if we don't look at the demon won't get us, so to speak, which of course we know isn't true. What is stage 4 as opposed to from diagnosis to stage 4?
Stage 4 is when they have no recollection of who you are, where they are, what time of life they're in. They're just trapped in this horrendous world of knowing nothing. She doesn't know who I am. She doesn't recognise me. Horrendous, I think is the only word.
Is stage 4, like there's no remembrance at all? So is there times where she does remember, or
she might come out of the odd thing sometimes, like that. I went and saw her the other day, and oddly she calls me Dad, and when she says Dad, I know she must recognise or see or smell something that takes her back, and that's quite settling for me. Yeah, you know, because I think she knows I'm here.
Yeah, she's getting comfort just out of a presence, even though it's not your presence.
Yeah. So the stage 4, to be fair, as much as she doesn't know you're there and she can't communicate, it's a lot better than stage 1 or 2.
Okay.
Because stage 1 or 2 is when you're going from having a normal understanding of a memory and life, but then you're flirting in between not knowing.
That must be the scary time.
The frustration. And then the anger comes and the confusion comes. and they're just flipping in and out. And when you speak to all the professionals and the carers, that is the worst stage. When they're transiting from one to another,
So does it start from like stage 1, stage 2? Does everyone go through the same
Yeah,
process?
they all go through
So
the stages. Some are quicker than others.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I won't mention his name, but a friend of mine's dad's gone downhill within months, where mum was over a few years.
Yeah.
Lots of things can affect them and move it along quite quick, like losing her husband. That had a massive impact, and then she took a massive dip.
Just trauma on trauma.
Trauma. Moving her from Somerset to Devon.
It's another trauma.
Because she's trying to get her head round of, it's a new home, new faces,
Unfamiliar
new everything.
surroundings.
Yeah, and it all adds a bearing on it.
Yeah.
It's horrendous.
We've had some fantastic, remarkable, amazing, brave people on the show so far this season. You absolutely add to that list. I'm always fascinated because, correct me if I don't know the figures. I would imagine hundreds of thousands of people are going through similar to what you're going through now. I'm always interested and fascinated even by what inside you, Ian Stone, what was the moment when you said, I'm obviously going to care for my mum, but alongside that massive, not burden, because it's family and it's not a burden, but it's a pressure on your life, an already busy life. What was the point when you said, I'm doing something?
I think watching mum suffer and realising what she was going through and then doing a little bit of research on it and understanding it was the point of, it might sound silly, but there's medication, or they're trying to license medication to help slow the process down. And the biggest thing for me is I wanted to go out there and raise awareness so people will notice it early in their loved ones, pick up on the signs, and then hopefully the medication will come through and they can get that help, and it might prolong their life or their memory for another 5 or 10 years. Too late for my mum. However, I think that was the turning point for me.
Is it a coping mechanism in a
For
way?
me, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel I'm doing something for her.
Yeah.
That that she would definitely be proud of. We can all sit back and do nothing, but it's just not the way.
And most do, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's humbling. It's it's really, really humbling. And like when we left last time, Mum come down. We brought her down from the home.
So when you say you left last time, if you want to just tell people was it the first challenge you done?
So the last challenge, or the first challenge, we should say, 2020. I was sat with Mum at home, and I said, I want to raise some awareness. And she said, what are you going to do, son? And I'm going to cycle to Spain. She went, you ain't got a bike? I said, I'll buy one. and we just chuckled.
Yeah.
See. So I decided to try to get a group of lads together and go and do something different. Everybody talked about John O'Groats to Land's End, and I'm like, nah. British weather, potholes, and lots of eels. And I thought, nah. So I decided, I was like, right, I want to do 800 miles in 8 days, and I want to go that way. Well, that way takes me to Santander. Lovely. So I sort of made a little route up, looked at the miles. Oh yeah, that'll do. And unfortunately, lockdown came.
Yeah.
So we had 2 years where we couldn't do anything, which was understandable. It's fair enough. We had rules and regulations we had to stick to. We could cycle around the block, but we weren't allowed to cycle across the moors.
Yeah.
Otherwise you put in, the NHS under pressure if you come off your bike and that. Malarkey. And anyway, so myself, Tim Bumby, and Paul Hebden, with the 3 cyclists, and in January 2022, Tim rang me and he went, I think we should start training. We're leaving on the 30th of June. And I went, too cold. Too cold. It's all wet, horrible out there. He said, ring me in February. February came. He said, I think we need to start training. I went, it's still raining.
I was going to say, February's cold as well.
Still raining and cold, mate. I said, ring me at the end of the month. So March came, and he rang me. I went, yeah, give it a couple of weeks, warm up. So yeah, it was around the second week of March we started training.
And you leave it in June?
June the 30th, yeah. Unfortunately, I thought I was quite slim. I didn't think I was that overweight. And looking back at the photos over the last few days, I'm like, wow. I was over 17 stone in weight. So we ended up doing 400 training miles. But in that 400 training miles, there was only one 100 training mile.
Right. And you had to do 100 miles a day?
A day for 8 days.
Yeah, because that's relevant. So before you left, you'd only actually achieved one 100-day day.
Yeah, 100
I love
miles
it.
in a day.
I absolutely love it.
So it was a bit of winging it, as they say, innit? We had to wing it a little bit. And
how did you feel after that 100 miles? Physically, I assume you felt a bit sore, but how did you feel mentally breaking that hurdle? Because 100 miles is a massive number.
I felt all right.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did. To be fair, I felt all right. I felt good. I thought, yeah, it'd be all right. And then, obviously, you ask lots of questions because loads of people have done big rides, and they all say, once you get past the third day, you cycle fit. And to be fair, they were correct. Past the first 3 days were like. Oh.
Well, I saw some photos of you led down having Vaseline spread on your butt.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'll put that on the screen now.
We a lot of people use cream, obviously, for chafing.
Yeah.
Throughout them 400 training miles, I didn't get chafing, so I thought, well, it could be all right. All I need cream for. So yeah. Unfortunately, where it all went wrong on the first day, we ended up doing 114 miles and about 8,000 feet of climbing.
Is this on the actual?
On the actual first day of the Ride4Dementia in 2022. But the route took us through Brest, which is a huge city.
Northern France.
Yeah. And you have to adhere, and it's only respectful because you're in their country, you've got to adhere to their cycling routes, which are clearly marked.
Right.
Took us over an hour and 20 minutes to get through that city.
Wow.
And I think the problem came off your bike, on your bike, off your bike, on your bike, off your bike, and then you kept doing that.
Yeah, so
and I'm going to tell you a funny story. So as I was going through Brest and we're adhering to these cycling routes, we're coming up to this massive bridge, and Tim was leading. I'm going, Tim, cycling routes on the right, mate. Yeah, that'll be all right. Tim, we got a tram behind us, mate. And we're going over this bridge now with a tram behind us, blowing his horn at us. And on the other side was 2 French police officers stood there just shaking their heads at us. I just wanted to get swallowed up at that point. I mean, stupid English. I think they were muttering under their breaths as they do. And yeah, they found it funny to a point. But yeah, it was a little bit embarrassing that because there was a cycle lane, not in the tram lane. So yeah, the first day was quite tough. I can remember going up the last day, I cramped up really bad. Ended up falling on the grass verge and trying to unclip because my legs were locking up. But yeah, that was quite insight the first day last time.
I'm still confused because I've known you a number of years now personally, and you've done MMA in your past successfully, boxing, bodybuilding. Where did the cycling come from? Because if someone would have said to me, "Oh, have you heard Ian Stone's doing a big charity thing?" my mind would have jumped to something along the combat sports line.
Do you know what? There's been quite a few comments on the lines of, Ian Stone on a bike? Really? No,
Well, you've proved them wrong, but
yeah, I mean, it's like if you look back over the years at my running, when I'd done half marathons, and I stripped down, or when I was doing Thai boxing, I'm stripping down to 11 stone 12 from 16 stone. My weight can fluctuate, and you look back at my half marathon times, they're really good. So I know I've got good legs. I've got really good engines, so I think that, and I've got good lungs. And I think that really, as long as you've got good engines and good lungs and a good balance on a bike, and the rest of it's mental.
Yeah,
it's a mental thing.
It is. But linking in with that was one of my questions. What have you learnt about yourself and humans in general doing these huge. To give you some reference as to what I mean, when I first started doing mountains, it completely changed. I look at hills now and don't think, oh God, I don't want to walk up there. I just think, oh, that's not very far. It's completely changed my perspective of height, hills, hiking, distance. And I've done nothing on the level that you have. How has that changed your perspective in life?
I think fitness is key, and you'll understand that, because these little hills now, when you're unfit, were massive, but when you're fit, they become little hills.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing all these routes now, because we repeat a lot of cycling routes, 100 miles that we do, and the hills that I used to dread, I think, oh, here we go, I'm up on my toes now, and you're flying past them. Obviously with Strava, you know, all these PBs you're hitting.
Oh,
because
they
you
are
loves his
deadly,
Strava.
aren't they? They are
get
deadly.
fitter and fitter and fitter.
You must be local. Is it local legend that you're always going on about?
KMOs, King of the Mountains. You know, I haven't got one
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
You haven't got one yet?
No, not yet. I'm not really, not
why
really-
did we even have him on?
Yeah, I know. Failure. But yeah, so you know, like yourself, cycling, you get out there. Once you're fit, you're in a different world, aren't you?
And I just think with that freedom you get of a bike, where you can just switch off.
Yeah.
You're in your head,
Yeah.
or and it just, I find like after a bike ride, my mental health is just so much better. I feel a bit clearer. I feel good.
Clears your head.
Yeah.
You're out there. Like I say, there's no pressure on you. You're taking the sounds, the sights, the smells, sucking in that lovely clean air. And like you said, you come home and you go, oh, do you know what? I feel amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Post event blues. Is that something that you suffered with after the 2022
Massively.
ride? Yeah.
Massively.
I think I've done big events for charity, and I think it's something that is completely psychologically unrecognised. You have that massive,
Yeah, and then you drop off
and
the
then
edge. Yeah. Coming back on that ferry, okay, it gave me time to reflect of what we had achieved. You know, I look back and went, right, this is what I want to do now. I started getting depressed.
Yeah.
And started feeling down because I had nothing to focus on. Okay, don't get me wrong, I've got a beautiful wife, beautiful children. But yeah, that like now, 8 months of solid training. And unfortunately, you know, my wife is a bike widow at the moment, or a cycling widow. And on my focus every day, I'm on the phone or doing an email or getting hold of a sponsor or doing this. Well, that's going to go. And yeah, do you know what? We actually had a chat. We had a team meeting on Saturday night, and that was brought up. And I said to the lads,
So you've got to plan.
You will. So I think what was discussed is as soon as we get back, we're going to go out as a team.
Yeah.
Get back out, and it doesn't have to be 100 miles. It can be 30 miles, but just get out, regroup, keep chatting, and you know, and hopefully
Set roles for people as well. Say that, right, you're gonna, because you've got a bigger team now, haven't you?
Yes.
Three people in
10.
2002, 10 people this time.
10. Challenging.
So now your team's gone to 10 remarkable people. Would you like to just tell us about them?
All the riders from different walks of life. Their age range is obviously, I think I'm the oldest at 54. And they go down to around 29, I think. They all have their own reasons of why they want to do the ride. Some of them are just purely doing it to support me.
Yeah.
Some of them have friends or family that are suffering with either Alzheimer's or dementia. Like I say, they come from all different walks of life. Most of them were like Sunday riders, I call them. Couple of the lads are really good riders, and then one of them, and I'm going to mention him, Ryan Chivers. He's an ex-Royal Marine, still plays rugby. I believe he's around 44, chiselled as they are. And I invited Ryan because he's sort of getting to the end of his rugby days with injuries and stuff, and he likes a bit of a challenge. And his comment was, well, it's easy, really. Look at you boys. You're all overweight. you're all overweight, and look at your age. So I went, okay. Yeah, he come out. He lasted 30 miles, and he was absolutely broken. and he had to eat humble pie, which was quite nice, and he took it all back. The ride has been amazing. Like I say, we've trained for 8 months, as you're aware, with some of the footage of, going out, we're getting up at 4 a.m. and leaving at 5 in the rain and the cold.
And life hasn't stopped. You've still got work.
Still got
mum to look
family.
after.
Yeah, we've got everything, and nothing stops. You've got to fit it in when you can. And the weather couldn't stop you.
Yeah.
We had to get them winter.
Well, you rode here tonight.
Yeah, get them winter miles in makes a vast difference when you're in the summer.
You mentioned that you're all into it for similar reasons, some just to support you. What does success look like at the end of Ride4Dementia 2024?
Success is getting there safe.
Yeah.
All in one piece, and all of us finishing the ride. I think that is success.
Yeah.
For me, is the awareness. Honestly, is so put it into simple terms. So last time when we finished, the last photo had 55,000 hits online.
Wow.
That meant more to me than anything.
Yeah.
Because 55,000 people were talking about it.
Yeah. That's massive.
And that's raising awareness. Okay, like we said, we raised 21,100 between three of us, a colossal amount of money. But like I say, it's the awareness.
I love what you said earlier, Ian, when you said too late for my mum, but not too late for other people. And
yeah.
My friends have raised an awful lot of money for my causes over the years, and some of them since Don passed away have said, we didn't do it. And I said, but we funded things that don't have to be funded again. Yeah. So someone down the line, and that's what your money's doing, isn't it? You'll be paying for clinical trials that haven't worked or been in time for your mum, but they're going to, if that clinical trial failed, they don't have to fund that clinical trial again. They've tried it, it's not worked, they move on to the next one. They learn a little bit from this and take that forward. Yeah. So all the funding is used really effectively. Sadly, not in time for your mum.
No, no. But like I say, hopefully in time, and God forbid any parents or any aunties or uncles get it, because it's not nice. But if they do, hopefully by then there will be a medication that will slow the process down.
So I learned from your website today that, and I didn't know this, dementia is an umbrella term for lots and lots of neurological degenerative diseases, isn't it?
Yeah.
Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, is that
it? I believe it comes under the same umbrella. If I'm being honest, I didn't really know about it until Mum was diagnosed, and I was a bit ignorant to it as well. I didn't take it serious because every time I went and saw Mum between 2018 and 2020, she was just my mum. She didn't seem any different.
Yeah.
It was because I wasn't there 24/7. And, my eyes and my world opened up when we moved her from Somerset. When Dad passed, the first couple months she was okay. I used to go up there every day. Every day I'll drive up to Bridgewater. But unfortunately, every day I noticed something else and something else and something else. And I got to a point where I went, it's not safe for Mum to be on her own. She went from cooking on a stove to just microwaving meals because it was too dangerous for her to cook over gas. But then in the end, Mum was not even, she was putting it on defrost and trying to eat, so she couldn't even use a microwave. So, that was the point of, we really need to bring her down to Paignton. And
sorry.
My eyes opened then because of Mum lived with me and I lived with it every day. Yeah, it changed everything.
What's the care look like from the NHS?
Do you know what? It's like bang your head against a brick wall. The care is out there, but you have to go and find it.
Right.
And I knocked on doors, many, many doors. It took me around 15 months to get the care put in place that Mum deserved and the packages that are out there. It shouldn't be like that. No. That's one of my frustrations. And it isn't just with Alzheimer's or dementia, with any illness or condition, and this is only my belief, that when you're diagnosed, they should give you a leaflet. And on that leaflet, it should say, at this point, call this one. At this point, call this number. At this point. in this day and age? Why do we have to go? It's like you're begging.
Yeah.
So my job is working with people with complex needs, and the conversations I have with family members about what they need and what they can get, and what there is it's scary. Like you say, what you do 15 months, but you have to go through all these different loops and hurdles.
Battles.
It's battles. Yeah,
You're already in a battle,
Yeah.
and you've got now a side battle
Yeah.
to tackle.
So in the end, the problem was, it just doesn't affect your mum. Moving your mum into the family home, if she had all her faculties, would be hard enough. Moving her in with a condition, especially dementia.
Yeah.
It has an effect on your marriage.
Yeah.
It has an effect on your children. My daughter said something in the car many months ago, how she used to hear my mum come the stairs and literally shut her door and she'd put her cover over her because she didn't know what nan she was going to get.
Yeah.
And
It's almost like having a stranger.
a complete stranger.
Yeah.
We said, when we talked about earlier, that going through the change, that change when she had the anxiety, then it was, you're stealing off of me. Then the violence came.
Yeah.
My little mum was never violent, but this, back then, 5-stone lady got violent, and the swearing and the accusations that we did in the bedroom, we pinch this and pinch that. And mate, trying to, they're like an escape artist there. It's amazing how she could escape out of the house. We had duty of care, and it was quite a frightening time. There was one night, it was New Year's Eve. My wife had gone outside because there was fireworks going off. Looked up, and my mum had climbed out the little window, and she was on the flat roof.
Jeez.
If she had stepped another 2 foot, she'd have gone off the edge and hit the concrete. And and that's you lied in bed, and the little noises. It was just stressful.
I think what you're doing is absolutely incredible. What's the one thing, second time round, what's the one thing that you didn't take last time that you can't be without on this cycling trip this time?
As in, like, kit.
Kit, yeah.
Kit was a funny thing. I think you'll be quite surprised at this. So last time we took 3 spare bikes.
Your bike is incredible. It's a giant Propel.
The new one is a giant Propel. I think it's a giant Propel Advanced SL1.
I mean, we've just seen it, and it is,
I'll put a picture on the screen now, but you have to
incredible.
see. I've never seen a bike like it. Like I said to you,
Stunning bike.
it's incredible.
But going back to the last ride, so we had spare bikes, spare wheels, spare everything. We did 2,350 miles combined.
Training and event.
No, this just the event, just the
wow.
ride. How many punctures or how many mechanical breakdowns do you think we had over them miles, over the 3 bikes?
But because of your tone, I know it's going to be low, but I would have expected it to be high.
I would expect to be close to 80, 90.
So if I told you we never even had to blow a tyre up, that was it. Didn't even blow a tyre up on any of
So
the
were
bikes.
you on tube tyres?
Tubeless.
Tubeless.
We didn't have a puncture. We didn't have to blow them up. We had no mechanical failures.
So nothing like
Nothing.
No chains off.
Nothing
That's
at all.
incredible. Well, that's testament. Were you all on Giants?
No. Different bikes. Obviously we had them serviced before. There's a little bit of luck involved with that.
Yeah.
To be fair, the roads in France, that was another reason why I chose that country, because of the Tour de France. They look after their roads because they love their
that makes
cyclists.
sense.
A lot of parts of France, you've got a cycling lane, which is for families, and then you have a professional cycling lane, believe it or not. And then the road's just immaculate. And I remember coming to the first roundabout, and the car stopped. And we're like, what's going on here? Bikes have right away.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I know, and you're like, it's really bizarre. It's like, well, how's that happen? They're just so polite.
Yeah.
And
So,
you're doing Italy this time.
so Italy, again, that's
Have you ever? I haven't driven.
No.
I've been driven in Italy. My brother lives in Italy, and it's called. There's this game that when I first went out there, that he did with his kids, spot the car that hasn't got a dent. Because even the really nice sports cars are all dented, and they're crazy. They genuinely are crazy.
Italy's an unknown. However, 2024 challenge, even that we'll leave Paignton Green on the 9th of July. We are going to be down there at 3:30, half an hour with the families, and we will be leaving between 4 and 10 past. That gives us enough time to cycle to Plymouth to catch the ferry. They're just extra miles.
Yeah.
Just 30 odd miles for a bit of fun.
Yeah, warm up.
The challenge
the legs
doesn't,
up,
the challenge doesn't start until we hit Roscoff. We have then 4 days of cycling of 150 miles a day.
Oh, so you've upped it this year.
So upped it, yeah. So so to achieve the 1,336 miles over the 10 days, the miles are completely different.
Yeah.
And the time in the saddle is completely different. The first 4 days, most days are 150. There is one day that's 161, and you're up around 8,000 feet the first day, 7,000 feet the second day. That's total, elevation that we'll be riding. And then it drops down to about 5 and then 5. So that's the first 4 days.
And you've got some really tasty riders.
Got a couple of tasty riders, so I decided to chuck in one of the most iconic, famous hill climbs in the Tour de France, called Alpe d'Huez. We hit Alpe d'Huez is the first hill when we hit the Alps.
What day's that on?
That it will be day 5. Day 5 we're doing 78 miles and 10,000 feet of climbing.
Wow.
That's 1,000 feet per.
So that's your shortest day, but your biggest elevation?
It is the biggest elevation.
How many switchbacks is it? Because Alpe d'Huez goes like that.
21.
Is it 21?
It's 21.
He's done his research on the route.
And lucky enough, we thought we had to come back down it, but we can go around the back of it. That's fine. Then, obviously, the next day, there's, again, 78 miles of climbing, which is another 10,000 feet. But what I didn't realise is we are doing the highest pass in Europe, and the last hill on the last day of the Alps is something like 7 or 8 miles long.
Wow.
And we are climbing 6,000 feet on that hill. We're already 4,000 feet above sea level. So the oxygen up there and the air temperature is going to be really cold.
And that's something you can't train for either.
You can't train for that.
No,
not
not
well,
here.
saying that, the winter rides, it was cold.
Well, temperature-wise, but the elevation gain you're going to have
the shortness of the breath.
You got a support van?
Yeah, we've got a support van. The driver's a medic.
Perfect.
And the only great thing, our campsite is about 10 miles off the top of that pass. And then the next day we've got around 38 miles downhill to Nice, which is quite nice.
How can people watching, how can they find you and what you're doing, even if it's awareness, like you said, but if they've got a few pounds, if they want to support, bring your total
Facebook,
up.
Ride4Dementia.
Yep.
But obviously it's Ride with the numeral 4.
Yep.
And then we've got an Instagram page, which is the same, Ride4Dementia. On there's the Just Giving page, Ride4Dementia. I would imagine you could type it in Google and find Ride4Dementia, Just Giving page. For me, all I ask is you follow us, you like the page, and you share it. That for me is good enough. If you have a few spare pennies and you can chuck it in the Just Giving page, that would be amazing. We've had some amazing sponsors. I've got to give a big shout out to RevComps. A lot of people know RevComps.
Is that a local firm?
Yeah, they're a family-based auction. What do they call it? It's not auction, is it? You buy a ticket, a raffle ticket. It's like a raffle, and you can win a car. Or motorbike.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. Yeah.
Robbie and his dad. So I've designed this kit. And they sponsored it. It's
really cool.
$3,000 for the kit for all the lads. Bricks and Fish Key, they've been amazing. They've sponsored the dry robes. They paid for the transport on the ferry. And they've chucked a few £100 in the bank. Boss Scaffolding have been amazing. They've paid for the fuel. There's a list of sponsors. Juicens and Interline. They've bought us
So massive companies and small companies.
Yeah, small companies, family-run companies, national companies. You know, people locally have been amazing. You know, there's sponsors that I forget, that I should have mentioned, as you always do. So we've had so many sponsors. Like I say, I can't remember them all or mention them all, but at the end, we'll get Don to put them up and pop them up on the page so you can see what amazing people they really are. Because without the sponsors, it's not doable.
Yeah.
And I've got to really thank on this point, really, the driver, Scott. Without Scott and without Andy, we can't ride.
Yeah, it's
Because you've got to have a support crew.
teamwork.
You know, they have to drive that vehicle.
Are you connected during the ride? Are you connected with radios?
No, the only thing we're linked in is Garmin. And to be fair, what we do is use WhatsApp location.
Yeah.
So at any point, and we're all linked, the riders as well. We've done ours through Strava. So, you know, if we got split up, everybody can see where they're to.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen because we ride as a team. Differences for the support crew, because obviously once we pack down, or they pack down, we set off to ride, they'll pack down the tents and everything, or event shelters.
Yeah.
And then they'll go to a hypermarket, grab a load of fresh food, because that's always difficult to keep.
Yeah.
And they'll meet us. We won't know where they're going to meet us. We'll be just cycling along, and they will just boom pop up, and they'll be there, and we'll just go over quickly. And again, the brakes have to be like military position, otherwise we'll be riding for hours and hours and hours, and don't want to be doing that.
You were talking earlier about, you know, post-event blues and stuff. Is there something in the back of your head for the next one, or are you solely focused on this one?
So, yeah, we're solely focused on this one.
But there's a seed. I can see there's a seed.
It's planned out. I mean, I'll be riding again in 2026 to Stockholm in Sweden.
Oh, wow.
Nothing's been really planned, but that's the end destination.
Yeah.
I know it's around 1,600 miles, 1,600 miles. Yeah, 1,600 miles. And yeah.
So we could be talking to you in 10 years' time, and you're saying we're riding to Moscow. And then we're riding.
Yeah, I won't go Moscow, but so 2028 we're riding to Athens. That's around 2,000.
That's further down.
Yeah, further down past Croatia, left a bit over that way.
So
that's 2,300 miles.
So Ride4Dementia has a future.
Ride4Dementia has a massive future. Ian Stone, the cyclist, has a limit. His challenge is the 2030 ride. So that's 5,500 miles in 55 days across America.
But when Ian Stone can't cycle, Ian Stone plans, and Ian Stone does the driving, and Ian Stone does the organising. I can see this going on and on.
I want to make it become an annual thing then, and maybe 2 rides a year for all abilities and different people that want to go out and raise awareness and raise money.
That's fantastic.
That's sort of the dream, really.
Ian, what you're doing is remarkable. You're remarkable. Your mum sounds remarkable. Thank you so much for coming on today and talking about your story. All of your links will be available in the description of this podcast you're listening or watching to, and we'll put your Just Giving Facebook and Instagram tags there as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure. God bless you both.
Thank you.